Behind the rickety gates of an ancient temple, shrouded in the night's mist, a young man named Chen Chang'an slumped weakly. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, a constant dance of worms accompanied by the mournful melody of his own ragged breaths. His gasps intermingled with the distant howls of wolves, creating a symphony of sorrow that pierced the heart. Chen Chang'an wasn't from this world. Once, he lived an ordinary life in his own realm. But fate had other plans. A mysterious vortex had hurled him into this new world, a world saturated with the power of cultivation, a world he never dreamed existed. Initially, he was rescued by an old cultivator from a small, secluded sect. The elder's kindness became a beacon of light in the darkness. He took Chang'an as his disciple, offering him shelter and knowledge of this world of cultivation. However, fate had another cruel twist. Chang'an possessed damaged meridians, rendering him incapable of cultivating. He revealed that Chang'an possessed a legendary body of immortality. This legendary body attracted malevolent spirits and monsters, who craved to devour Chang'an and claim his power. Their small sect was ravaged by bloodthirsty creatures, forcing the old cultivator to abandon him in this desolate temple. With a heavy heart, the elder embarked on a journey, determined to find a way to heal Chang'an's meridians and shield him from harm. Before leaving, he fortified the temple with protective mantras, hoping they would deter demons and monsters from preying on his pupil. Now, Chang'an was trapped in despair. Exhausted and resentful, he lamented his wretched fate. He couldn't reconcile himself to his bitter destiny, a destiny that ripped away his happiness and future. In the black of night, Chang'an cursed the heavens for his misfortune. His voice echoed through the ruins of the temple, a scream from a wounded soul. The heavens, as if offended by his words, retaliated with a flash of lightning that almost struck him down. Chang'an jerked back, startled from his rage. He lowered his head, begging forgiveness for his harsh words. Regret and fear coiled around him like a serpent. Amidst the darkness and silence, Chang'an chose sleep. He yearned that when he awoke, the old cultivator would be back, bearing a plate of warm roasted chicken and his usual loving smile. But deep down, Chang'an knew this hope was mere delusion. Harsh reality awaited him outside, waiting to be confronted. Outside the desolate temple, bathed in the faint moonlight, a mysterious woman materialized like a spectral shadow. Her eyes gleamed with avarice, sniffing the tantalizing aroma emanating from Chen Chang'an's legendary body of immortality. Without preamble, she barged into the temple, a predator stalking its prey. Chen Chang'an, lost in a pleasant dream, jolted awake with a gasp. A sensual whisper tickled his ears, stirring his soul. He turned slowly, and his heart nearly leaped out of his chest. A beautiful woman, but with an aura of malice radiating from her eyes, stood before him. He tried to scramble away, but the woman moved with lightning speed, clamping down on his wrist with sharp talons. Agony lanced through him, fresh blood staining the temple floor. "Who are you? What you want with me?" stammered Chang'an, his voice trembling with fear. The woman smirked, her eyes glinting with feral hunger. "I am your devourer," she rasped, her voice a chilling whisper of death. "Your legendary body of immortality will be mine." Chang'an gaped, despair flooding his heart. He was trapped in the clutches of a bloodthirsty monster, powerless to fight back. The protection bestowed by his master failed to hold back this demonic woman. Suddenly, amidst the darkness, a mysterious voice echoed within the temple. It was cold and mechanical, like a robot from another world. "Warning! Invincible domain system activated due to emergency. User Chen Chang'an, you are within a 2-meter domain. Within this domain, you are invincible." Chang'an reeled, a flicker of hope reigniting within him. This mysterious system bestowed upon him the power to fight the demonic monster before him. He was no longer weak and helpless. With steely resolve, Chang'an unleashed a devastating punch. His fist, a meteor of raw power, slammed into the demon woman's body with unimaginable force. A scream of agony tore through the air as her form shattered into pieces, leaving no trace behind. Chang'an gasped, in disbelief of the power he just wielded. His punch pierced the temple roof, ripping through the night sky, like a meteor marking the birth of a legend. A notification materialized in his mind. "User Chen Chang'an, you have defeated a monster with Qi training level 3 cultivation. You have earned 10 domain points. To expand the domain, you require 100 points per meter." Chang'an envisioned the immense power of possessing a domain vast as the continent he left behind. He would be an invincible ruler, free from the shackles of a cruel fate. However, as he sought further information from the system, its response brought him crashing back to reality. User Chen Chang'an, the path to becoming strong must be walked by yourself. Disappointment washed over Chang'an. A wave of dizziness and weakness overwhelmed him, and he collapsed onto the temple floor, surrounded by debris and the stench of death. That night, within the cursed temple, a new legend was born. Unaware to Chang'an, the cataclysmic force of his punch ripping through the sky tore a gaping hole in the firmament. This event triggered an unprecedented series of natural phenomena, sending shockwaves through both the upper and lower realms. News of a legendary artifact, a treasure from the higher plane, plummeting to Earth, spread like wildfire. Every cultivator faction in the lower realm became embroiled in a frantic race to claim the fallen relic for themselves, seeking the power and glory it promised. Meanwhile, in Xuanwu, the celestial realm inhabited by immortals and deities, chaos erupted. A powerful, mysterious force from the lower plane had punched through the dimensional barrier, shattering the hallowed structure housing the sacred immortal blade, an ancestral relic of immense power. Now, the blade lay lost, plummeting towards the world below, sowing fear and disorder. Recognizing the dire threat, a high-ranking official of the upper realm swiftly summoned the 12 immortal generals, an elite force of warriors revered for their unmatched prowess and strength. With a face etched with concern, the official entrusted them with a critical mission: descend to the lower realm, recover the lost immortal blade, and eliminate any who impede their path. A brutal conflict was inevitable. Within the dimly lit halls of the abandoned temple, Chang'an stirred from his unconsciousness. Confusion clouded his mind. How had the vengeful spirit breached the supposedly impenetrable temple wards? And what did this newfound, invincible domain mean? Chang'an tentatively reached out with his hand, past the unseen barrier of his domain. A bone-chilling cold and a menacing aura pressed against his outstretched fingers. He snatched his hand back, a stark realization dawning. Outside his domain, he was nothing more than a frail mortal. His solitary contemplation was shattered. A young woman tumbled through the doorway, crashing near his feet. A hulking figure, scarred and brutish, stomped after her. Li Xiao, a ruthless lieutenant of the demonic serpent cave. Lingbua. Li Xiao roared, his voice dripping with menace. Confess, or I'll pummel the life out of you. Ling Bauer, the unfortunate young woman, defiantly yelled back. If you dare lay a finger on me, my father will unleash his fury upon you. Chang'an considered ignoring their squabble, but the pangs of hunger gnawed at him. Surely these cultivators had provisions. With a surge of bravado, he addressed them. Bauer, startled by the unexpected presence of a mortal in the desolate temple, gaped at him. How dare this ordinary man interrupt their tense standoff? Unfazed, Chang'an declared the temple as his master's domain. Since they had trespassed without permission, they owed compensation in the form of food. Li Xiao, enraged by Chang'an's audacity, tightened his grip on Bauer's throat and unleashed a skull-shaped energy blast towards Chang'an. Chang'an instinctively raised his arm to shield himself. But before the attack could connect, it dissipated harmlessly upon entering his domain. Chang'an, bristling with indignation, retorted, I hold no hostility towards you, yet you seek to take my life? His voice boomed through the chamber. Both cultivators were stunned. How could a mere mortal nullify a cultivator's energy attack? Li Xiao's brow furrowed in confusion, unable to comprehend the anomaly. Hey, ugly face, you think you can kill me? Chang'an taunted Li Xiao, daring him to come closer and end his life. Infuriated by Chang'an's provocation, Li Xiao drew his magic saber, which floated above his head. You want to die? I'll grant your wish, he shouted, charging at Chang'an with his enchanted weapon. Chang'an, anticipating this moment, braced himself, ready to catch Li Xiao's flying saber. Deep inside, Bauer couldn't believe Chang'an had the strength to face Li Xiao barehanded. Seeing Chang'an's bold stance, Li Xiao laughed mockingly. As Li Xiao's magic saber entered the attack zone, Chang'an halted it with just 2 fingers. Both Li Xiao and Bauer were stunned, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Using his fingers, Chang'an then broke the magic saber and hurled the fragments back at Li Xiao. Li Xiao perished by his own weapon. The system notification pulsed in Chang'an's ears like a victory symphony. 500 points awarded, it declared, igniting a surge of exhilaration within the young man. His triumph over Li Xiao, a golden core level 3 cultivator, had yielded a magnificent reward. Without hesitation, Chang'an poured the precious points into expanding his domain. A surge of green spiritual energy enveloped him, sending a thrilling sensation of expansion. His domain, previously the size of a small room, now boasted a radius of 5 meters. Chang'an, now within his broadened domain, strode towards Li Zhao's lifeless form. His eyes caught sight of a shimmering storage ring adorning the fallen cultivator's finger. A faint smile played on his lips. Chang'an recognized his limitation. He wasn't a cultivator. His gaze shifted towards Bauer. "Bauer," he called out, "can you open this ring?" Bauer jumped as if struck by lightning at Chang'an's call. Panic flooded his chest as he recounted the ordeal. Li Xiao, the revered leader of the Demon Dragon Cave, had launched a brutal attack without warning. Bauer was the sole survivor, his comrades from the Nine Swords sect meeting their demise at Li Zhao's cruel hand. Gratitude welled within Bauer for his deliverance. He bowed his head, thanking Chang'an for rescuing him from the clutches of death. But gnawing curiosity pricked his mind. Could Chang'an be at a cultivation level beyond Golden Core? Nascent soul, perhaps? Yuzhou hadn't seen such power in centuries. Bao muttered under his breath. Hearing Bauer's harrowing tale, Chang'an cut straight to the chase. He requested Bauer to open Li Zhao's storage ring. According to Bauer, anyone could access it after the owner's demise. Chang'an's sole hope resided in one thing: food. Bauer reached for the ring and began the process of unlocking it. A burst of bright light erupted, signifying the ring's opening. Finally, Chang'an is very happy to found a food after being hungry for so long. With a sudden surge of emotion, Bauer dropped to his knees before Chang'an. His heart filled with gratitude for Chang'an's life-saving actions, Bauer felt an unbreakable bond forming between them. He knew, deep within his soul, that their destinies were intertwined. Driven by this unwavering belief, Bauer pleaded with Chang'an to accept him as his disciple. His voice echoed with sincerity, his eyes glistening with a mix of hope and desperation. Despite Chang'an's initial reluctance, Bauer remained steadfast in his conviction. In Bauer's mind, becoming Chang'an's disciple represented not just a path to self-improvement, but also the assurance of a powerful protector. Chang'an, however, was hesitant. While a part of him yearned to take Bauer under his wing, he was plagued by doubts about his own abilities. Relying solely on his domain's power, Chang'an feared he had nothing substantial to teach. He couldn't bear the thought of disappointing Bauer, who had placed such unwavering faith in him. Despite Chang'an's reservations, Bauer's unwavering determination shone through his tearful eyes. His pleas tugged at Chang'an's heartstrings, forcing him to reconsider. An idea struck Chang'an. Since he couldn't venture out of his domain to gather resources, why not train Bauer to become his forager? Chang'an's demeanor transformed. He revealed his true identity as a mighty being from the immortal realm, one who had roamed the world for 10 millennia. Countless individuals had braved countless perils, yearning to become his disciple. And now it was Bauer's turn. Touched by their intertwined destinies, Chang'an graciously accepted Bauer as his apprentice. However, before granting him formal discipleship, Bauer would have to face a series of trials. Bauer, overwhelmed with joy, prostrated himself before Chang'an, his heart overflowing with gratitude for this life-changing opportunity. The bond between master and apprentice was forged, their destinies forever intertwined. Heavy rain lashed down upon the earth. Chang'an requested Bauer to collect rainwater in a vat, preparing to cleanse himself. Bauer, busy with the task, suddenly felt a powerful aura envelop him. Panic surged through his chest. With hurried steps, Bauer rushed towards Chang'an. "Master, a golden core level tiger demon stalks us." A wide grin stretched across Chang'an's lips. Excitement flared within him. "Excellent." Chang'an boomed with enthusiasm. "Come, let's hunt this demon." As it turned out, the tiger demon was lured by the fragrant scent of Chang'an's undying physique. Despite witnessing Chang'an's immense power earlier, the allure of the aroma proved irresistible. The tiger demon drew closer, ready to pounce on its prey. Chang'an stood firm at the outer edge of his domain. He knew the tiger demon was tempted by his scent. With a calm demeanor, he extended his hand beyond the domain's area. The tiger demon could no longer resist the temptation. Its body shot forward like lightning, lunging towards Chang'an and Bauer. Bauer shrieked in terror as the tiger demon closed in. The beast drew nearer, poised to strike Chang'an down. However, the moment it entered Chang'an's domain, its movement came to a sudden halt midair. Chang'an casually stood observing the tiger demon frozen before him. Bauer gaped in disbelief. His master had subdued a golden core level tiger demon without a single movement. "Bauer," Chang'an commanded, "slay the beast." Beaming with pride at his master's trust, Bao drew his sword. He attacked the tiger demon with fervor. But due to his cultivation level being far below the demon's, his attack was futile. The sword he attempted to thrust into the tiger demon cracked instead. Witnessing this, Chang'an seized Bao's sword. With unwavering confidence, he unleashed a single swipe towards the tiger demon. In an instant, the tiger demon was cleaved in two, helpless before Chang'an's might. Bao stood awestruck. His master had slain the tiger demon with one decisive strike. Chang'an then instructed Bao to cut the demon's flesh, intending to cook it for a shared meal. A booming notification echoed through Chang'an's ears, a testament to his victory. His triumph over the Golden Core Level 8 Tiger Demon had yielded a magnificent reward, 800 field value points. This bounty propelled him towards a system upgrade from version 1.0 to the exhilarating 2.0, unlocking a mysterious new ability, All Living Things. Curiosity gnawed at Chang'an's mind. What did all living things entail? Without hesitation, Chang'an commanded the system to initiate the upgrade. After a period that stretched like eternity, the system's notification arrived once more. Upgrade complete, it declared, and successful. A surge of new energy coursed through Chang'an. Burning curiosity compelled him to explore this newfound power. Impatient to sample his newfound power, Chang'an sent Bao on a quick errand. Curiosity burned within him about the capabilities bestowed by the newly upgraded system. Bao returned with two small blades of grass. Chang'an leaned forward, his focus narrowing on the verdant life forms. With a subtle gesture, he channeled his power into the grass. Before his very eyes, the ordinary grass began to shimmer with mystical light. In a blink, it had transformed into a spirit grass, imbued with the power of an elixir. But Chang'an wasn't finished yet. He continued his channeling, eager to explore the full potential of the spirit grass. After a few moments, the spirit grass morphed into the form of a cute little fairy. Chang'an grinned, bestowing the name Xiao Ban upon the tiny sprite. His creativity wasn't limited to fairies. Chang'an transmuted the remaining grass into a life essence pill. He offered the pill to Bao, who swallowed it without hesitation. A surge of incredible energy coursed through Bao's body. The power of the pill propelled him through his cultivation level with lightning speed. Bao rocketed from foundation building level 6 to level 7 in an astounding leap. A notification from the system chimed in, reward for host, 50 field value. The system explained that due to the master-disciple bond between Chang'an and Bao, each time Bao broke through a level, Chang'an would receive field value as a reward. The higher Bao's cultivation climbed, the more field value Chang'an would gain. Chang'an was beginning to grasp a new way to increase his domain's field value, by taking on many disciples and aiding them in their cultivation breakthroughs. However, before he could delve deeper into the system's other functionalities, he sensed something rapidly approaching. It came from above. Suddenly, a sword ripped through the temple roof, carving a gash in the serene sky. It clattered to the ground with a resounding boom, landing before the astonished Chang'an and Bao. Bao recognized the fallen object. His eyes widened, a flicker of awe crossing his face. Master, he whispered, it's an immortal relic. Chang'an furrowed his brow. An immortal relic? The term was unfamiliar to him. Bao recounted the events of the previous night. A mysterious figure had punched a hole in the heavens, creating a gaping maw in the sky. From that very hole, this immortal relic had fallen, igniting a frenzy amongst all the powerful factions in the region. Curiosity piqued by the power of the immortal relic, Chang'an picked it up. To his eyes, the sword appeared ordinary and unassuming. He even doubted its potency. Without hesitation, Chang'an used his skill to repair the sword. In a short while, the blade regained its shine, radiating a more potent aura. However, Chang'an remained unconvinced of the immortal relic's worth. He felt it didn't resonate with his needs. With a nonchalant gesture, he offered the immortal relic to Bao. This is for you, Chang'an declared. Bao stood speechless. He couldn't believe his master was so readily giving him this extraordinary immortal relic. As Bao gripped the hilt of the immortal relic, a surge of powerful energy coursed through him. The relic's aura was far more potent than he could have imagined. A wave of bewilderment washed over Bao. Why wouldn't his master want such a powerful immortal relic? He bowed deeply, expressing his gratitude to Chang'an for his immense generosity. Chang'an smiled broadly. He wanted Bao to feel comfortable and safe within the temple walls. To fulfill this desire, Chang'an utilized his skill to repair and clean the entire temple area. Dust and grime vanished, replaced by a glistening brilliance that pleased the eye. A deafening roar shattered the stillness of the ancient temple. A figure shrouded in dust and debris crashed through the roof, raining destruction down upon them. Bor stared in disbelief as the figure cleared the dust, his heart hammering in his chest. Li Batian, his voice trembling with fear. The leader of the Dragon Cave, a cultivator at the peak of the Golden Core realm, loomed before them like a harbinger of death. Li Baishan's arrival wasn't a solitary one. His disciples swarmed in, filling the temple with a tense silence. Li Batian scanned the room, searching for Li Shao. Tension escalated the moment Qiu Qintu, leader of the Skull Sect, descended from above with his followers. They hovered over the temple, like vultures circling their prey. The Skull Sect, notorious for their brutality, posed a far greater threat than the Nine-Sword Sect. Qiu Qintu couldn't hide his fascination with the spirit grass clinging to Chang'an's shoulder. However, before Qiu Qintu could make his move, Li Batian stepped in his path. Blades were drawn, a fierce battle poised to erupt, a clash that would decide the fate of the immortal legacy sword and the future of Bauer and Chang'an. Amidst the chaos, Chang'an could no longer remain silent. He roared, his voice echoing through the crumbling temple, laced with anger and frustration. How dare they desecrate his home? Li Batian, a raging storm, unleashed a torrent of energy that slammed against Chang'an's domain. The temple shuddered under the impact, the deafening roar echoing within its walls. Bauer and Chang'an scrambled within the shimmering barrier, the only haven from Li Baishan's unbridled fury. Qiu Qintu wasn't about to be left out. A dark skull-shaped aura engulfed the temple, a grim reminder of the power he wielded and his desire for the treasure hidden within. Chang'an burned with indignation. Li Batian and Qiu Qintu's actions were beyond infuriating. Yet, trapped within the confines of the dome, he could only watch the chaos unfold. Suddenly, Dor's voice boomed through the temple, a stark warning. He reminded Li Batian and Qiu Qintu of his master's unparalleled power, the one who had effortlessly slain Li Shao. Chang'an, sensing Li Baishan's hesitation, seized the opportunity. He taunted Li Batian, daring him to enter the domain. Enraged, Li Batian could no longer contain himself. He landed on the temple platform, arrogance oozing from him as he strode into Chang'an's domain. He even brandished his weapon, a weapon said to have devoured 10,000 souls, a chilling reminder of his brutality. Not to be outdone, Qiu Qintu followed suit. He approached Chang'an, demanding the surrender of the immortal legacy sword. Chang'an, with an air of cool sarcasm, responded to Qiu Qintu's demands. He continued to provoke them, urging them closer, eager to see how far they would dare venture. Bauer could barely contain the inferno of rage that burned within him. His young blood boiled. How dare these wretched cultivators belittle his master? Bor roared like a wounded lion, his eyes fixed on Li Batian with a piercing glare. Li Batian, the Golden Core cultivator, merely sneered. Untouched by the outburst, he threatened Bauer with chilling indifference. Even if you're the son of the Nine Swords master, defying me will cost you your life. Bauer grew even more frantic. You're the one who murdered my brothers. You're the mastermind. Li Shao must have attacked them on your orders, you villain. Bauer knew all too well that at the foundation building stage, he was no match for Li Batian, who had already reached Golden Core. If he were capable, he wouldn't hesitate to avenge his fallen brethren. Li Batian, unable to bear Bauer's provocations any longer, lunged at Chang'an and Bauer with ferocity, wielding his sigil magic weapon. However, he was oblivious to the fact that he had entered Chang'an's domain, where the young master held absolute control. With a lightning-fast movement, Chang'an flicked his wrist. Li Baishan's powerful attack was effortlessly halted. Not only that, Chang'an used the power of his domain to plummet Li Baishan's cultivation level from Golden Core back to the most basic stage, Qi building. Chang'an recalled his master's teachings about cultivation levels. In this world, there existed two distinct paths, upper world cultivation and lower world cultivation, where they currently resided. Cultivation in the lower world began at the humblest stage, Qi building, and progressed through foundation building, Golden Core, nascent soul, God transformation, void refinement, culminating in the most prestigious Immortal Slayer. Beyond Immortal Slayer, a whole new realm of cultivation awaited in the upper world, starting with Immortal Soldier, progressing through ranks like Immortal, Immortal General, Commander, King, Sovereign, Venerable, Emperor, and finally, the most powerful Lord of the Immortal Domain. Back to the fight, Li Batian staggered, utterly powerless. Almost all his cultivation had vanished, leaving him like a candle flickering in a strong wind. Bauer stood aghast, mirroring Qiu Qintu's expression. Chang'an had crippled Li Badian, reducing his cultivation to the lowest level, opening the door for Bauer to fight. Without hesitation, Chang'an commanded Bauer to exact his revenge. Bauer lunged at Li Badian. Despite Bauer's father failing to defeat him, Li Badian remained confident facing the young man's attack. As the leader of the demonic dragon cave, he possessed a formidable arsenal of weapons. As Bauer drew near, Li Badian activated his most potent protective artifact. Bauer swung his sword at Li Badian, and in a blinding flash, golden light erupted from the immortal sword in his grasp. Unforeseen by both Bauer and Li Badian, the immortal sword's energy joined the attack. Bauer's strike transformed into a devastating force of light energy. The light engulfed Li Badian, incinerating his entire body, leaving only his shoes standing on the ground. Bauer was simultaneously awestruck and terrified by the sword's power. Qiu Qintu, observing the fight while hovering in the air, also felt a sense of lurking danger. However, he became convinced that the sword in Bauer's hand was an immortal heirloom. Qiu Qintu was tempted to attack Bauer and steal the weapon, but his movement stalled as he sensed an overwhelming aura threatening him. Qiu Qintu realized Chang'an's gaze was fixed upon him. A foolish move would be his demise. Bauer, intoxicated by the power of the immortal sword he just wielded, yearned for another chance to test its might. With blazing passion, he shot towards the Skull Sect members hovering in the air. Catching sight of Bauer's approach, Qiu Qintu and his followers were gripped by panic. They scattered in a desperate bid to escape the looming threat, but wouldn't give them the chance. With the immortal sword singing in his grasp, he relentlessly pursued them. The system notified Chang'an that he had gained domain points from his student's victory. Chang'an didn't waste a moment. He seized the opportunity, using the domain points to expand his domain by a staggering 22 meters. Realizing that some Skull Sect members remained trapped to the temple, Bauer approached Chang'an. Recalling the Skull Sect's cruelty, Bauer pleaded with Chang'an for permission to eradicate them all. The request sent shivers down Qiu Qintu's spine. He immediately dropped to his knees before Chang'an, begging for mercy. He commanded all his followers to follow suit, pleading for forgiveness from the young master. However, Chang'an wasn't one to be easily swayed. He saw right through Qiu Qintu's ploy. Left with no other option, Qiu Qintu ordered his men to attack Chang'an. A futile attempt. The Skull Sect members became a mere snack for Chang'an, awarding him a hefty 450 feel value points. Seizing the chaos, Qiu Qintu took flight in a desperate escape. Bauer worried that Qiu Qintu might leak the existence of the legendary immortal sword, but Chang'an remained unfazed. In fact, he seemed to welcome it. In the wake of his humiliating defeat by Chang'an and Bauer, Qiu Qintu desperately sought a way to salvage his pride and the Skull Sect's reputation. Upon returning to his sect, he plotted his next move, a way to challenge Chang'an and reclaim the coveted immortal sword. However, before any plan could be formed, earth-shattering news arrived. The Skull Sect's ancestor, who had ascended to the upper world 5 years ago, had returned. For Qiu Qintu, it was as if a beacon of hope had pierced the darkness. He hurried towards the sect's grand hall, where all the high-ranking members had gathered to welcome back their revered ancestor. In the center of the hall stood a majestic figure, radiating an aura of unparalleled power. This was the Skull Sect's ancestor, now an immortal-level cultivator. His presence was a godsend for Qiu Qintu and his followers. With utmost respect, the sect leaders bowed low, prostrating themselves before their ancestor. The ancestor spoke with a booming voice, declaring his descent to the lower world was under his master's orders to locate the legendary immortal sword. This revelation struck like a bolt of lightning, electrifying the entire sect. Qiu Qintu, who held knowledge of the sword's whereabouts, immediately stepped forward and offered himself as a guide. He referred to Chang'an's dwelling as the Immortal Temple, a blatant hint at the location of the coveted treasure hidden within. Within the serene confines of the temple, Chang'an spent his time with Bauer and Xiaoban. His mind was consumed by his domain, striving to unlock its depths so he could safeguard those around him. Gazing at Xiaoban, the vibrant sprout nurtured from a humble seed, a spark ignited in Chang'an's mind. If he could directly enhance Xiaoban's growth, could he not achieve the same for Bauer's cultivation level? With burning enthusiasm, Chang'an beckoned Bauer, determined to help him blossom. He explained his plan to forcefully elevate Bauer's cultivation with his own power, a process that would undoubtedly be excruciating. Bauer, ever eager to learn, readily agreed. However, a slight misunderstanding seemed to cloud their communication. Bauer perhaps envisioned a smooth, effortless advancement. Undeterred, Chang'an began channeling his energy into Bauer. As the energy surged, Bauer recoiled, a searing pain ripping through him. The system displayed no sign of progress, yet Chang'an persisted. He intensified the energy flow, a torrent now coursing through Bauer. The overwhelming influx of power sent tremors through Bauer's body. The excruciating sensation threatened to consume him, leaving him gasping for air. Yet, the unwavering desire to become the successor of the Nine-Sword sect and the unwavering aspiration to continue training under Chang'an fueled his resolve to endure. A colossal burst of energy engulfed Bauer, like a miniature sun igniting within the temple. Dark, swirling clouds pulsed with crackling energy, gathering ominously above his head. Each ascension in a cultivator's journey was marked by the tribulation of heavenly lightning. This brutal test determined whether their bodies possessed the fortitude to devour the lightning's power and shatter the barriers of their current level. The first bolt of lightning, furious and potent, arced towards Bauer, ready to test his endurance. But before it could make contact, Chang'an's domain surged forth like a protective dragon, enveloping Bauer and deflecting the strike. Bauer collapsed weakly onto Chang'an's lap, his body drained from the grueling process of level advancement and the perilous trial. But he had succeeded. He had breached the threshold and ascended to a higher plane of cultivation. However, the heavenly lightning, its attack thwarted by Chang'an, refused defeat. With renewed fury, it unleashed a bolt of unimaginable power, a destructive force intent on obliterating everything in its path. The sheer magnitude of the lightning's wrath resonated throughout the entire forest. Beasts and monsters fled in terror, seeking refuge from the rampaging storm of celestial fury. Amidst the earth-shattering tremors of a phenomenal storm, three lords of darkness couldn't ignore the spectacle. The Fox King demon Hong-Yi, a being of nascent soul level, watched with a piercing gaze. By his side stood the bull demon king Taoba, no less formidable with power at the same realm. Completing this unholy trinity was the inverse serpent demon king, also of the nascent soul plane. The three agreed to investigate further, their steps carrying them towards Mount Fexian, where Chang'an and Bauer were in the midst of their training. Within the temple, Chang'an wrestled control of the rampaging lightning, transforming it into a nourishing current that flowed into Bauer's body. The disciple received it eagerly, ready to absorb the energy and bolster his experience and power. The three demon kings approached the temple cautiously. Suddenly, they were rooted to the spot, awestruck by the sight before them. In the sky, a woman levitated gracefully, her form bathed in celestial light as she devoured the celestial lightning's energy. Dreads creeps into their hearts. Who was this woman? The enraged celestial lightning, its power manipulated by Chang'an, was silenced with a powerful gesture from the master. As the storm's fury subsided, three demonic kings materialized like phantoms, soaring towards the temple. Chang'an sensed their unwelcome presence, but remained undeterred, his focus solely on Bauer, who was deep in meditation. The three demon kings gaped at the sight before them. Not a spirit, but a human, who had dared to breach the cultivation barrier and attract the celestial lightning. Chang'an's system notifications blared repeatedly, signifying Bauer's spectacular breakthrough and the torrents of field points flooding in. Bauer levitated in the air, enveloped in an otherworldly aura. Bauer's extraordinary potential shone brightly, catching the attention of the demon kings. They jostled for position. The fox demon king, Hong-Yi, with a swift stride, approached Bauer. However, Taoba, the bull demon, didn't hesitate to block his path. This opportunity was seized by the serpent demon king, who slithered past them both with cunning agility. Hong-Yi, refusing to be outdone, transformed into a colossal fox, ready to pounce on the serpentine schemer. The serpent demon king, equally undeterred, morphed into a nightmarish monstrosity, prepared for an all-out brawl. The earth-shaking roar of the bull demon king shattered the air, halting the fierce battle that was about to erupt. Finally, they came to an agreement. They would ask Bauer directly who would be the fortunate one to become his master. Before Bauer, the three demon kings strutted their stuff, flaunting power and wealth. Taoba Yi, the imposing bull demon, stepped forward, introducing himself as the eldest son of the demon lord. Without preamble, he offered 3 miraculous golden pills, concocted from the essence of a great demon, as a reward if Bauer became his disciple. Not to be outdone, the slithering serpent demon slithered forward, nudging Taoba Yi and his trivial offer aside. With a sly smile, he unveiled a soul-infused fruit of immortality, the product of 1,000 years of sacrificial cultivation. This fruit, he claimed, could propel Bauer to the coveted realm of immortality. The condition was simple. Bauer had to worship him as his master. Lastly, Hong-Yi, the Fox Demon King, he offered no material reward, but rather a tempting promise. If Bauer agreed to be his disciple, Hong-Yi would consider him a younger brother and the young successor of the esteemed ancient Fox sect. With the sect's backing and resources, Bauer would effortlessly attain immortality and even ascend to the upper realm, the abode of deities. The Bull Demon and the Serpent Demon exchanged glances, realizing their offers paled in comparison to Hong-Yi's proposition. Convinced his was the best deal, Hong-Yi stared at Bauer with anticipation. However, the response that shot from Bauer's lips was akin to a lightning strike. He firmly rejected all their offers. With unwavering confidence, Bauer declared he had no need for their gifts or promises. He already possessed a magnificent master whose power surpassed their wildest dreams. Even becoming a god was a mere trifle for his master, let alone reaching immortality or the upper realm. Bauer's arrogance and pride shone through. Hong-Yi, the Fox Demon King, couldn't contain his inquisitiveness. He barked at Bauer. "Who is this master who dares to teach you to such formidable heights?" Chang'an, the master himself, stepped forward with an air of authority. Hong-Yi, unable to sense any cultivation aura from Chang'an, was filled with suspicion. "Impossible," he roared. "How can you, a human with no foundation in cultivation, be a great teacher?" His fury boiling over, Hong-Yi accused Chang'an of deceiving Bauer. Taobai, the burly bull demon, wasn't about to be left out. He gathered his strength, ready to pounce on Chang'an. Bauer, seeing his master threatened, wanted to intervene. However, Chang'an merely smirked, seemingly enjoying the situation. "What say you, bull demon?" Chang'an challenged with a relaxed tone. "Do you dare attack me?" The raw energy from Taobai's attack resonated through the other demon king's very bones. They gaped in astonishment, suspecting Taobai had been secretly cultivating, and his power now surpassed theirs. Taobai thrust his finger towards Chang'an with full force, confident he would cripple him. But reality struck him with a harsh blow. Chang'an didn't even flinch. The finger might as well have been poking solid steel, leaving the master unscathed. Now it was Chang'an's turn to move.